Our second presenter is Laila ElSerty, and she's going to talk about embedding global learning into the curriculum. Laila, the floor is yours. You have 30 minutes and 20 or 25 for presentation and 5 for questions, or 10. Okay.
So please, Amani, I would appreciate it if you just tell me before the question. Before the 5 minutes.
Okay, now 5 minutes. So we want to give questions 5 or 10 minutes.
We can make them 10. I'll try to go faster and leave the floor for everyone to ask questions.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, we do.
So I'm basically sharing my experience last fall with everyone. I tried to embed global learning into the IEP curriculum. And just before we start discussing that in details, I wanted to share with you 2 questions raised by Jacobs and Gates in 1999. And they asked, do you believe that we as second language teachers can have any impact on what is going on in the world? Or should we concentrate solely on improving our students' language proficiency? So I would appreciate your input on that. What do you think? Do you think that as teachers, we can make a change as language teachers, or we should focus on the idea of English language teaching?
I think we can do both. We can improve their proficiency through the issues, the global issues that are around us.
Yeah. Raise their awareness. If the least thing we can do is just get them to know what's going on. Hopefully later they will take the initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's our responsibility actually to bring in social justice into the classroom. I think it's the single most important thing we need to be doing with our students.
Excellent. Why, Mariah? Why do you think this is like the least important thing we should do?
Because I think we need to be thinking about the bigger picture in the world. We need to think about what's the purpose of our life. The purpose of our life is to make the world a better place. How do we do that? We've got to address the social justice issues. And so we learn English through talking about social justice, I think, as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all.
It's an ideal way of teaching English. I mean, at least we're teaching English through
content,
something that is interesting, that is challenging, something that they're going to have to face sooner or later. So what better way to do it than to use content that is meaningful
and authentic.
I was going to say realistic.
Authentic and meaningful.
Yeah, we'll hopefully make a change. We don't know about that, but at least this is what we're trying. Thank you so much. So this is the outline of my presentation today. I'm gonna just tell you briefly what global learning is. I believe that most of you know what that is, but I'll say it very quickly. And why is it important? And the last question is how to include it in our curriculum. What is global learning? Unfortunately, many universities and researchers disagreed on a single, they couldn't agree on a single definition, but this is the one that I'm referring to here, the one by Kevin Holland in 2009. It is more and more institutions are defining global learning as a vehicle for integrating multiple disciplinary perspectives and weaving together existing commitments to do what? To explore diversity, build capacity for civic engagement, and prepare students to take responsibility for common global problems. Okay, this is the one that I relate to. This is the one that I feel comfortable with while dealing with global learning. And if you are keen on knowing more definitions, please visit, I can share the PowerPoint slides with you, and it's all interactive and linked. You can share this link for the Association of American Colleges and Universities. They have a list of definition of what global learning is from different perspectives in different universities. When we discuss global learning, most of you talked about social justice, but there are other perspectives that we can tackle or discuss other than social justice. We can discuss identity. And some of us, those in IEP teaching module 1, some of us tap onto the idea of identity and who I am and maybe auto 10.2, you discuss identity too. So this is one of the perspective of global learning. Another one is sustainability, and lately we have integrated the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So I think we're doing a great job now. And one more is the diversity, accepting the others and knowing that we're living in a diverse world. The second point is, why is it important to include global learning in the curriculum? Some of you answered the question by using authentic content. You said that it's interesting. Is there anything that you want to add, like why it's important for us to include global learning into the curriculum and why now? Marianne, you're muted.
I think it's a matter of
Yes.
I believe we're teaching them life and the important issues in life. So global learning is definitely where we're living. So I think that's why it's important too.
Thank you, Hala. Anything else?
If we want to create a citizen who's well-rounded and aware of the problems of the world that he lives in, so they should not be living in their own bubble, and that's it, you know.
Exactly.
We have to go beyond their local to the global, you know, society.
Excellent. Or the glocal, they call it glocal these days.
Yes.
Thank you, Amani, so much. And Alex, you have something to say, please?
Yeah, to emphasize what has already been said, I think the more we think of global learning in either this formal sense or in not so formal a sense, but just interest in global issues, I think the more we reflect to our own local context and we see that there's very huge similarities in very different places, and it might help us in our local situations as much as learning and being sensitive to global issues.
Exactly.
We're interconnected.
Yes, exactly. Marianne.
I think many of our students have lived in their own little bubble and are not aware of what is going on in the world around them. And I think this is a good opportunity to make them, you know, just be aware that everything is not about being at AUC and having the latest car and having fun, that there are problems out there that they are going to have to face sooner or later. And we can very gently ease them into this awareness of a world outside their own.
Excellent, Marianne. Thank you. This is really true.
Noha has her hand up.
Yeah, well, Marianne, I beg to differ. As I said, they are digital natives now. They are exposed to the problems, but maybe not in depth. So it's our responsibility to explain to them, but they know the problems already, I think. So
actually, not all of them know
but
how.
at the end, the common goal, we have a common goal.
Yes.
I think they choose to ignore them because I mean, it's not something that they're not going to look up a video about poverty or child labor or sustainability. I mean, I broached the whole issue of climate change and the conference that's happening in Glasgow these days, and they're totally unaware. I mean, and they're not interested. And I found that they look terribly bored. What is this brouhaha about, you know?
Yes.
Who cares? So
I agree.
Can I just
add that I had a student who was completely convinced that there is no poverty in Egypt. That
I had the same, Sanaa.
Yeah, they're all pretending to be poor in order to take our money.
Yes, exactly.
So this just, and we're talking about their own country.
Yes.
Let alone other communities in other parts of the world. And so they're completely oblivious. And then when they're out in the job market, they should know what's happening, especially all of them want to travel and want to live abroad. Then they're not going to be ready if we don't create the global citizen now.
Yes.
Step by step, as Marianne said, just very gradually.
Ease them into it.
Hiba. Yeah, thank you,
well, actually, I totally agree with Miss Marianne and Miss Sanaa on this, because actually I had, you know, when showing my students some movies and especially the left shoe, for example, I had those like aha moments, like, is it even possible? We can't believe this is happening. Is it, for example, possible that somebody wants to have shoes? Yes, somebody might not have it. I think another important point is reconsidering the customs and traditions in our society. especially, when we were doing the gender discipline or the gender unit, they started thinking about like, wow, this is some sort of patriarchal ideas that they do exist, but do we still need to have those practiced? So I think we're having some sort of moments of enlightenment happening sometimes
very true.
During the course. Thank you.
Thank you, Hiba. Thank you all so much for the lovely input. Thank you. That was really insightful. So some of what you mentioned, we have global competence, local, whether global or local commitments, like knowing more about what's going on in the world and locally. And there is cultural growth, because part of global learning involves knowing more about other cultures. There is empathy, like now they're aware of a problem. We're trying to sort of have some empathic students somehow. And we have students empowerment. Like when you ask them to think of solutions or to think of like, what can you do to make it change or to solve the problem, we're sort of empowering our students as well to do something of their own. There are other global learning byproducts. This is like what I call it, byproducts, and I classify them into macro byproducts and micro byproducts. The macro ones is like you're sort of fostering experiential learning or community-based learning, and you're fostering collaborative learning in multiple, and again, we have multiple disciplinary perspectives, because they learn about the climate, they talk about gender issues, they talk about social justice. Other micro byproducts, we have, they learn different skills like researching skills, paraphrasing skills, critical thinking, analysis, reflective skill. These are the higher levels of thinking, and 21st century skills like becoming digitally aware or other 21st century skills. So the practical application, this is what I actually did last fall, how I included global learning into my teaching. What I tried with my AP students last fall, I tried two things. And I guess most of you tried the virtual tours before, like sending students on virtual tours. I believe Sanet talked about it in Last Neighbor Bridges, and many of our esteemed colleagues talked about that too. There are many, especially with the pandemic, like many websites now, they're offering many virtual tours. They can go to museums, they can go to zoos, they can visit any country or any place at the comfort of their own home. And the second thing I did was a Sustainable Development Goal integrated project. It was mainly an awareness raising campaign to stop or to implement or call for SDG 1, no poverty. The virtual tour, if we look at the different global learning perspective that we discussed earlier, virtual tours here are related to identity, are related to diversity, are related to adventure. They know about different cultures. These are some of the places that I sent my students to. Some people went to Tokyo, others went to Paris. Some other people, I sent them like to the aquarium in Georgia, went to the zoo in San Diego. And I didn't pick like the destination. I give them a list of destination. I asked them to pick whatever destination they want, and they tour it in groups. And using Jamboard, they reflected on their experience. Let me see if you can see my, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just showing you samples of what they did. They reflected on how they felt during the tour. They used some sort of visual representation as well. I usually ask my students to make their work visually appealing. Some people said, I wish I could go to Japan. The video we watched made me feel very excited to go there. I felt it was a safe place, different, it's different than Egypt, different cultures. Talked about even the colors, the buildings, the costumes. A girl said it seems it's safer for women to walk on the street. Like it's safer in Japan for women to walk on the street. Let me get back. The group that went to Paris, they visited the Louvre, and they had like very insightful reflections. Some of them actually visited the Louvre like physically in person. And they said that the virtual visit is different from the actual one. and they expressed how different it was. Some people said that I feel that the virtual one wasn't as strong or as interesting as the physical actual visit to the Louvre. They feel that the statues are not real or the paintings are not real. Another person said that I visited the Louvre from outside. Now I have the chance to visit it from inside. So you will get more like insightful thoughts when you allow them to go and visit places and reflect on these visits. The second one is the SDG No Poverty Awareness, SDG 1, No Poverty Awareness Campaign. And here we're tapping onto social justice and sustainability as the two perspectives of global learning. We all know what the SDGs are, and we've been using them in our curricula this fall. I picked last fall SDG 1, No Poverty, and I divided my students into 3 groups. Group 1 was responsible for creating a video. Group 2 was responsible for designing a poster, and the last group for creating a website. And the 3 of them actually worked together because, for example, the website included the poster and the video and Facebook page, Instagram page, and a YouTube channel. This is the video they created. If you may, Amani, do I still have time? It's a very short
video. 3 minutes and 10 minutes for questions. So you can have 5 minutes for questions and have 3 minutes to finish.
Thank you. What's really nice about that, for my students to create this video, they had to look for copyrighted music, like free copyright music, free copyright footage, so that they can create a video that like will raise no questions or no problem because they're having like the AUC name on it or something, which is very nice for them to be aware of that academic integrity and knowing that there is like copyrighted material that we shouldn't approach.
The world has made huge strides in overcoming global poverty. Since 1990, more than 1.2 billion people have risen out of extreme poverty. Now, 9.2% of the world survives on $1.90 a day or less, compared to nearly 36% in 1990.
While the full effect of COVID-19 pandemic is unknown, the World Bank estimates that an additional 88 million to 115 million people will fall into extreme poverty in 2020, with the total rising to as many as 150 million by 2021. When families move out of poverty, children's health and well-being improve. Since 1990, the number of children under the age of 5 dying mostly from preventable causes such as poverty, hunger, and disease is less than half of what it was, dropping from nearly 35,000 a day.
On the basis of social, economical, and political aspects, there are different ways to identify the type of poverty. Absolute poverty, relative poverty, situational poverty, generational poverty, rural poverty, and urban poverty.
Today, the estimates of global poverty account for nearly 8.6% of the world. People who live in extreme poverty live on a daily basis of $1.90 or less. Nearly half of the world, almost 4 billion people, live on a household income below $2.50 per day. The poorest in the world are often hungry, have much less access to education, regularly have no light at night, and suffer from much poorer health.
If you want to join our campaign, you will find our Instagram account and Facebook account linked on our website. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So they've learned through the process, and this is the idea of raising awareness and letting people know what poverty is all about. The second group created this poster. I'm not sure if can you see it now? Can you see the poster itself, or you want me to zoom in?
Yes.
Okay. Usecanvas.com. It's an online tool that creates and designs different.
What is it called, Laila, please?
Sorry?
What is the name of the?
Canvas.com,
yes.
and I can send it to you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And the last group created this this neat website, and they linked a Facebook page. They have a home about page, contact, and services. They even offered, like, give a list of other UN related organizations that people can visit to make an action to donate or do something. And they have a Facebook page. Let me see. I already have it open here. Can you see it?
Yes.
So they created this Facebook page last fall. And I guess Alex shared it with everybody, like sent you all the link to share with your students, maybe encourage them go like, or see what other students at IEP are doing, maybe to make a difference. So this is what it is. And they put the video, they put the poster on the page, link to the website. And they also have an Instagram page, but I don't have Instagram open now, but you can find the link on Facebook as well. After the project, I collected feedback, like in sort of reflection, but I didn't ask him to write a reflection paper. I gave him like a Google form, asking them some questions. Some of the questions I actually asked Sophie about the questions that you use in the PBIS, and I added more questions. This is mainly what I am. Can you see the form?
Yes.
Okay. Some of the question I asked him about how they feel about their work, how did their teammate contribute to the success of the project, and what adjectives would you use to describe your feelings toward the finished product? What would you improve if you had more time? And what are you most proud of? And even asked them about how they felt about the performance of their teammates, like how did they feel their workers been working? And that was really interesting. Like they talked about who worked more and who worked less and who did what, and they were comfortable with working with who and not with who. Did you accomplish the task, yes or no? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy you are working with your group? The most important one with the last question is how could you build on this project in the future? Because it's not something that you are going to just finish and leave. What are you going to do next? And I want to share with you some of the answers I got. These are quotes from their answers to the last question on how they will build on this project later on. Some people said making collaboration with popular organization to support me and help me to raise my voice to reach a larger scale of people around the world. Some people even suggested contacting professors from other universities and other departments and think of maybe something that we can do together to raise more awareness. To make the poster go viral, share it at AUC, hang a copy there, share this information with more people and start to act and try to resolve this issue, not only by speaking, but also by actions, to share it more with people so everyone will be aware. Interested with what Mohammed said. Mohammed is one of the students who suggested communicating with other professors and other universities to reach many people. So it's not only an idea of solving the problem, or at least reducing it. This is what I ended up with after discussing this project with people who thought that we don't even have a problem in the country. We don't even have poor people in the country. Because as you said earlier, some of them, they're living in a bubble, and the bubble is usually the compound where they're living in. They don't go beyond that. So at the end, now they're aware and they're trying to make other people aware as well. That's all. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Laila. We have 6 minutes for questions.
Can I ask a question?
Shall I stop sharing now?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, Saneh.
I just want to know what link, if you know it now, يعني the links بتاعت the virtual tours.
Yeah, I can send you the link. There are many of them. And if you just Google virtual tours, you will end up with a huge list. But I can send you some links in it.
And were they for free?
For free, yeah, for free. And some of them have like 24/7 live cameras. Like, for example, one of my students went to the zoo. If I have time, I can maybe I can share with you the Jamboard. And there's like a camera for like the lion cage, or a camera for the panda area, a camera for the giraffe area, and it's 24/7. So you go according to the time zone. Like it could be day here, it could be night, watching the animals asleep and seeing how other workers are dealing with the animal, and they can comment on that too. Yeah. Hela, please.
Thank you very much. This was really interesting, Laila. My question is for the poverty, like raising awareness campaign. How much time did you dedicate to that project?
Class time, it took like 2 sessions. 2 sessions to use the SDGs. Yeah.
Okay.
But the follow-up time was done like sort of asynchronously, like out of class time, like you can call it blended one. But class time, it was mainly like 2 sessions, and the idea of grouping them. At the beginning, I decided on who is working on whatever project, but at the end, I allowed them to swap. Like for example, the student with the video was in the poster group. And he said, like, I know how to make videos. I have a very good software on my laptop, and I can find free copyright material. And then I shifted him to the other group right away. So now you're giving them this sense of autonomy, or this sense of, okay, of choice. They can do what they think they're capable of doing. And
That's perfect.
Thank you. Marianne, please.
And how much time did they work on it? Actually working on the project.
Can somebody remind us when we attended the Global Learning conference
in October?
In October. So I started maybe early November. So it took them like a month to finish everything, like 4 weeks or something. Less than 4, like 3 weeks. Yeah, we finished at 17.
Yeah, thank you very much, Laila. I'm really very, very impressed. I mean, it's terrific work. But I have a question. Did you have to get permission to have the students fill out the questionnaire? Because I know that AUC can be a bit sticky on that. Did you?
I did another thing, and I got a permission for that, the IRB thing. But for another thing that was reflecting in general. Like I said, I'm collecting reflections, not only on the SDGs or not only on global learning. I was doing reflective writing all through the semester. I was experimenting with that, and I'm writing a paper on that. So I had to take the permission. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because that's really very offsetting. I mean, it just sort of, it's really a bit of an obstacle.
And I had, and I had him sign this form. Yeah.
All right. This my second. I think this is wonderful because it really lends itself to our reflective writing. You know, it can be a reflection on the process. It can be a reflection on the subject matter. So, I mean, this lends itself beautifully. They have all the background, all the information, the content, and the knowledge. So it's really one of those really integrated tasks, which is what we should be doing. So thank you very much.
I need just to respond to Alex and Mariah in the chat. I took the permission because I told you I'm working on a paper like on reflections, and I had to present this like abroad, and that's why I needed to collect the permission and take the IRB consent. Yes. Any other question? Thank you, Mariah. I have a question.
I need to raise my hand. Concerning when the students were asked to make those videos, was this a problem? I mean, in your case, you had the student who is familiar with the process and has the software. What if we don't have that in our group?
You can simply do a Zoom recording, as simple as possible. You can ask them to go to Zoom and record, and that's it. Yeah.
There's the video
that you see here, like they were not the best speakers in my class. Like the people who did the video, like who did the voiceover, were not the best speaker. Like it had students who had like better accents, and
it was still very good.
They did a very good job.
This is what they wanted.
It's very authentic.
Yes,
it's very nice.
Yeah.
And the choice of the pictures and the music. But I can't imagine. I don't know if I asked my students to do that, would they be able? Maybe they would. I haven't tried.
They will. The point is just guide them. Tell them that we need like free copyrighted material, free copyrighted music. And if they just Google free copyright footage or videos or music, it will take them to certain websites so they can choose from what they have.
Thank you very much, Laila. This was really very inspiring.